All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, it's not that often that a great player falls into a team's lap. And that's what happened in 1992 when the Orlando Magic won the NBA's draft lottery. Now, the Magic would go on to select center Shaquille O'Neal with that pick, and he immediately turned around the fortunes of this expansion franchise. Now, in Orlando's first 3 years in the NBA, they won a combined 70 games. But in O'Neal's first year with the franchise, they went 41 and 41, barely missed out on making the playoffs. And in the following year, they would secure their first playoff berth in franchise history. In the early to mid 1990s, the Magic were one of the NBA's most popular teams with a combination of Shaq and Penny Hardaway at the forefront. In 1995, the Magic won the Eastern Conference for the first time in franchise history. But after their meltdown in game one of the NBA Finals against the Houston Rockets, they never were able to recover in that series as they went on to get swept by the defending champs. But even with that loss, you got the feeling that this Magic team would be back as they were young and they had two of the NBA's youngest and brightest stars. But following Orlando's loss in the 1996 Eastern Conference Finals at the hands of Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, O'Neal would reach the fork in the road with the Magic. The Diesel was set to become an unrestricted free agent that summer, as this was long before the days in the NBA when the current team could offer more money than any other team to a player, which meant that Shaq was about to cash in. Now, there was plenty of resentment in regards to giving O'Neal $100 million to stay in Orlando. And when it was all said and done, Shaq would take his talents west to join the Los Angeles Lakers. And just like that, Shaq went from being one of the most beloved figures in Orlando to being a villain. And the Magic, honestly, were never the same. The Penny Hardaway era would soon end after Shaq's departure, as the guts of that popular team from the mid 1990s was now gone. We did see the Magic rebuild. They had Tracy McGrady in the early 2000s. We also saw them get the first overall pick once again in 2004, which they used on center Dwight Howard. With Dwight Howard as their centerpiece, Orlando would get to the NBA Finals in 2009, but they lost to the Lakers in 5 games. And honestly, in my opinion, this team was just never the same. Now, of course, Shaq would go on to win 3 NBA championships with the Lakers and then another one with the Miami Heat back in 2006. And with the Diesel set to become the first player in or franchise history for the Magic to have his jersey retired next month, you can only wonder what could have been if he had been able to stay there. Would Shaq and Penny have been able to coexist and would they have won together? You know, some people might not remember this, but that Shaq and Penny duo was looked at as the next big thing. You're talking about a big guard like Penny Hardaway who could dribble and who could score. And then, of course, Shaq was just beginning to come into his own, but he was still so dominant. I mean, he burst on the scene, averaging more than 23 points and nearly 14 rebounds as a rookie in the 1992-93 NBA season. And of course, he was just starting to pick it up. Led the league in scoring in his third season in Orlando, and he was a bona fide, legit star immediately. You think about the popularity from this team. I mean, you go back, that Orlando Magic jersey, whether it was for Shaq or whether it was for Penny, were two of the top selling jerseys in the NBA of that time. And, just changing gears real quick, the Orlando Magic, they've been an organization that has been known to change their jerseys, but honestly, the best one was the first one, the black one with the pinstripes, the blue one with the pinstripes. You really can't go wrong with either one. But nonetheless, the popularity for both Shaq and Penny was immense at that time. And you just have to wonder what could have been. It's one of those that even though that the Diesel only played for the Magic for 4 years, he's still one of the most iconic players to ever suit up uh, for the Magic. And of course, Shaq is in that rare era. He's going to be in that rare era with Wilt Chamberlain as players that have will have their numbers retired by three teams. Maybe it happens for LeBron with the Lakers. We don't know. Part of me, when he's done in the NBA with the Lakers, Heat, and Cavs, definitely know he's going to get his number retired by the Cavs. But nonetheless, as far as Shaq goes, you know, clearly one of the, if not the most dominant big men ever. And it's one of those, like, I'll go back to what I touched upon earlier, where I say the Orlando franchise, in my opinion, never recovered from Shaquille O'Neal's departure. Yes, they got back to the NBA Finals in 2009, but it was not the same. You get those once in a lifetime, once in a generation moments to try to get things going. And for Orlando, of course, even with a young Shaq, they were still in the infant stages as an NBA franchise. They were learning how to win. And of course, when Shaq went to the Lakers, he went to an organization that knew how to win. Shaq, clearly he was going to get his endorsement money regardless, but clearly, it was a little bit easier for him out there in LA. But nonetheless, it's just one of those, you just always wonder what could have been with Shaq and Penny, what could have been with that franchise. Would his career overall have been the same? And it's one of those, Shaq would have been dominant, but and honestly, he would have been dominant wherever he went. But in my opinion, going from an organization that was trying to learn how to win and going to an organization that knew how to win in comparison to the Lakers was totally different. And I think that was one of the keys for Shaq. Clearly, as good as he was, he had to take his game to the next level. Of course, playing with Kobe Bryant, bringing in Phil Jackson, and of course, the rest is history. And then from there, you win another championship with Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley in Miami. But nonetheless, if you're talking about the first guy that's going to get his jersey retired by the Magic, Shaq definitely has to be in that conversation. You could also, make a strong case for T Mac. You could also make a strong case for Dwight Howard. Clearly, Dwight Howard put up more stats with Orlando due to the fact that he played for the organization longer than Shaquille O'Neal. But nonetheless, we've seen Shaq's jersey retired as a Laker, Shaq's jersey retired with the Miami Heat, and it's only fitting that even though the big man hasn't played in the NBA for well over 10 years now, that the Diesel will always be honored by the franchise with where his NBA career started. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.